What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another live stream, live fantasy football draft. Going to be doing a mock draft with the audience today, with all of you to join the draft. All you got to do is join our Discord to know these drafts are coming ahead of time. You got to join the Discord as well. So if you miss out on this one, you can get into the next one by joining our Discord. What's going on, guys? It's been a exciting few days in the NFL, a lot of news to get through, a lot to talk about on this live stream. We will be doing a live mock draft, 14-person PPR mock draft in this live stream, and you can join. You can join this mock draft. All you need to do is join our Discord and go to the link right in our Discord. Tom, you are first, man. Welcome to the live. Hope everyone's having a fantastic Wednesday. We are also going to be testing out the new League Sync functionality in the WalterPicks app on this live. What's going on? We're live on TikTok and YouTube. You can see the draft board both on TikTok and YouTube, but the draft board will be reversed for those of you watching on TikTok. So come on over to the YouTube live if you want to see it in a non-mirrored version. But you can join this draft that I'm about to do. All you got to do is come and join the Discord and click that link that I just sent to everybody in our Discord. We will wait for this to fill up. We have, let's see. We only have 7 spots left. There's only 7 spots left in this draft. Again, to join, all you got to do is join our Discord. The link to the Discord, it's in the YouTube description. It's in the link tree in the TikTok bio. So first come, first serve. Once we fill up, we only got 6 spots left now in this draft. I'll be doing this live on the stream, 14-person PPR league. I have my first high-stakes draft in 2 days, 3 days. It's on Saturday. So I need to practice. That's what this mock draft is for. I got to get shifted into the season-long mindset. Where do I go to get in? You go to the link tree on TikTok. You click the Discord link, and then in the mock drafts channel in our Discord, that's where you join the draft. Or if you're on YouTube, the Discord link's right in the description. We have just 4 spots left. 5 spots left, excuse me. 5 spots left. I'm not feeling Debo at his ADP. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't fade Debo too hard with the type of usage that he gets, the type of yak that he can have. But he is going in the second round. So you are paying up pretty hefty. If you are going to argue against Debo, you got to go the ADP argument. So I would agree with that. I love Swift. Yeah, I'm a big Swift fan as well. Again, to join, we're about to do a live draft right on this live stream, a mock draft. To join, all you got to do is join our Discord. There's only 6 spots left now. We already got 8 people in. It's going to be a 14-person draft. The link to the Discord is in the link tree in the bio or in the YouTube description. Also, if you're watching live on TikTok and you want to see a better version of the draft board, come to the YouTube live where you also get to see me testing out the League Sync functionality in the WalterPicks app. TikTok does not have a mirror mode on live. So you're going to see the names like backwards on this live stream if you're watching live on TikTok, but you will still be able to see them. What's going on? Andrew, Falcons.WalterPicks. He is in this mock draft. We have 5 spots left. Again, to join, you got to join the Discord. I'm in. Let's get it. We got some people in the YouTube live that are in. We are going to sync to this draft in the WalterPicks app. I'll show you exactly how we're going to do that. All we got to do is put in our username, sleeper username, and I'm going to choose this one league. Click on the league, and now, boom, we're synced in the draft tool. Settings are synced. What's up? Draft me first overall. WalterPicks is so expensive for me. I'm broke. Yeah, so it actually is mostly free. The WalterPicks app is mostly free, but League Sync functionality you do need a premium sub for. The subscription cost is $10 a month or $60 a year, but you also do get a 7-day free trial with the annual subscription. But it isn't for everyone, and there is a lot of free stuff you can use in the app as well. Obviously, all my content, for the most part, on TikTok and YouTube is free as well. We are waiting for 3 more spots. Again, to join, all you got to do is go to the link in the mock draft channel in our Discord. You can join our Discord with the link in the link tree or the link in the YouTube description. Can you wear a hat that says science tomorrow? No, that's actually a really good idea. I should get a hat with just one word. I should branch out. I've been rocking the math app for, I feel like, a little over 2 years now. This actually is a new math hat, though. I don't know if you can tell. It's a slightly different shade. This is a gray math hat that I got as a gift. Are there any digital draft boards for live drafts? Digital draft boards for live drafts. If you want a digital draft board, I would just recommend using Sleeper like I'm doing now. That's probably the move. I'm not aware of any digital draft boards, though, for live drafts. Though I do like the physical ones in live drafts. How do I join? All you got to do is join our Discord, which is the link for that is in the link tree or in the YouTube description if you're watching live on YouTube. Once we fill up, we will start this draft. There is 3 spots remaining still for you to draft against me right now, completely free. This is just a mock draft, free mock draft. I got my first high stakes league coming up. There's only 2 spots left now. First high stakes league coming up in just 3 days. It is a PPR format. There's only 12 people, but I like to mock draft with more than the amount of people in the league. All right, we are full, so we will start the draft now. Let's take a look at the draft order. Let's see how it goes. We're going to start the draft. Okay. And I got the second pick. Love to see it. The first person is on the clock already. There's only a 30-second clock, so it's going to go quickly. We are live doing this draft. First pick is on the board. Sam, it's Zach. What's going on, Zach? Good to see you, man. Thoughts on Dobbins? Yeah, J.K. Dobbins supposedly is well on track for week 1. So as his ADP continues to fall, I do think he'll start to become more and more of a steal. And I'm willing to get him at cost, though. It needs to be at least 6th, 7th round, I think, for me to feel confident about pulling the trigger on J.K. Dobbins. There really isn't receiving upside. I like targeting running backs, especially because I'm in mostly PPR leagues with receiving upside. He doesn't have that. But he was one of the most efficient running backs in his rookie year. He led the league in yards per carry. He was 6 yards a carry in his rookie season. So I hope he's fully healthy when he comes back. We did just start this draft. My name is Walter. Nice to meet you, Walter. My name is Sam. It's a classic mistake. Don't worry about it. Are you running another one after this? Probably won't run another one after this, but we will run more as we get closer to the season. So you don't want to miss out on those. Just join our Discord. It's completely free. Link is in the link tree, and then you'll know ahead of time before I go live when we'll be doing this. Is this mock for Dynasty or redraft? This mock is for redraft. I am on the clock. Oh, I actually missed my pick, but I didn't because I took Christian McCaffrey, which I'm more than happy to do. I got the 2nd overall pick. That's actually my favorite pick in fantasy drafts. I want the 2nd pick more than I want the 1st pick because in almost every draft, people are taking Jonathan Taylor 1st overall, and I would prefer Christian McCaffrey at 2nd overall than Jonathan Taylor at 1st overall. I want Christian McCaffrey on as many teams as I can possibly get him on. So I love the 2nd pick. I also love the 3rd pick if Christian McCaffrey is going to slide that far in drafts as well. I know on Yahoo, his average draft position is 6th, 7th overall. That's absolutely insane. If that's going to happen in your home league, you got to be taking Christian McCaffrey. I get that it's risky, but you got to understand with risk, there often comes reward. And you got to weigh the risk reward benefit with Christian McCaffrey. And the reward is you win your league if he stays healthy. You literally are going to win your league if he stays healthy. He can score more than 20 fantasy points per game without scoring touchdowns. There's no other player like that in the NFL in fantasy football. Let's see how this first round's playing out so far. So I took CMC at 2 overall. You can see it behind me if you're watching live on TikTok. If you want to see it, though, in non-reverse order, come to the YouTube live. Link to that is in the TikTok bio as well. Justin Jefferson goes 3 overall. I would probably take Cooper Kupp over Justin Jefferson in a PPR league, but it's close. I definitely would take Cooper Kupp over Austin Eckler, though. Derrick Henry goes 6th. He's a pretty divisive guy this season, but he's another guy. You can have a similar argument with Derrick Henry as you can with Christian McCaffrey. If you're willing to eat the injury risk with Derrick Henry, I mean, if he stays healthy, you're going to have a good shot to win your league. He is the only running back in the history of the NFL, to average over 100 rushing yards per game in 3 straight seasons. I mean, the guy just is built different, but he is getting up there in age. He has logged the most touches of any running back in the NFL over the last few years. So it's definitely a big concern with him with injury. But if you're going to argue Christian McCaffrey is worth the risk, I think you can argue Derrick Henry's worth the risk as well. I do really like getting DeAndre Swift, Aaron Jones in the beginning part of the 2nd round. If I'm not getting a top 2 pick, I think I want to be at the end of the draft because the running backs that are available there, you're able to running back. I would love to start Aaron Jones, DeAndre Swift in a 14-person PPR league. I'll take that any day of the week. And yeah, you're seeing Saquon go in the middle of the 2nd round. I absolutely love him in that spot as well. Guys that have the receiving upside and the rushing upside, those are the guys that I want in fantasy. What pick would you take CMC in a 10-man PPR? I'm taking him 2nd overall, Tom. I'm taking him 2nd overall, just like I did in this 14-person PPR mock draft that I'm doing behind me. All right, I'm on the clock again. Walter's saying to go Debo. I'm not on the clock, sorry. Walter is telling me to go Debo Samuel right now, though. This is a PPR league with 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Debo, of course, gets snagged by Falcons.WalterPicks. a few picks ahead of me. I think I'm 3 picks away at this point. So I'll scroll ahead so you guys can see. Travis Etienne, wow, going really early in this draft. I really hope that's not where he goes in my real high stakes league. I really want to get Travis Etienne in round 3 and ideally round 4. Like, especially again, if I'm in the back end of the draft, I want Travis Etienne round 3, late round 3, early round 4. But round 2, man, that's a steep price ahead of Javonte Williams, ahead of Nick Chubb. I don't know if I could pull the trigger there on Travis Etienne, but he does have a chance to be top 5 among running backs in receiving this season. That's his ceiling, and that's a really, really high ceiling. All right, I'm back on the clock. Keenan Allen, T. Higgins are still there. I actually do prefer T. Higgins a little bit over Keenan Allen, though I would argue Keenan Allen is probably going to be a little bit more consistent in PPR formats. But yeah, I'm going to go with T. Higgins instead. I don't feel great about taking T. Higgins over A.J. Brown either. But I'm nervous about A.J. Brown a little bit in season-long leagues, a lot more than I am in best ball leagues, because he's going to be on a team that's going to run a lot. The Philadelphia Eagles were top 5 in the league last year in rush rate, and that's likely going to be pretty similar this year with Jalen Hurts, with the same coaching staff there. They did add A.J. Brown, so they're probably going to throw maybe a tiny bit more. I still think A.J. Brown's a top 10 talent in the league. But, man, I love T. Higgins, a part of that Bengals offense as well. I think both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase will finish this year as top 10 fantasy wide receivers in PPR leagues. Zeke going in the back end of the second round, his ADP is definitely starting to creep up as well. Should I trade Akers and Renfro for Jacobs and Rondale Moore? I probably would not do that. I think I would hold on to Akers and Renfro. Is the WalterPicks League happening this year? Yeah, it is. The draft date's actually already set. It's August, I think, 28th. It's the Sunday right after the preseason ends. That is when the 32-person draft is. And the draft order is going to be announced, I think, in just a couple of weeks. So really looking forward to that. I am going to take Keenan Allen with this pick, though, starting Christian McCaffrey and then 2 straight receivers. I'm betting on Christian McCaffrey to stay healthy in my season-long leagues, especially PPR, the consistency for Keenan Allen. I mean, how many seasons in a row do we need to see the consistency from Keenan Allen before willing to take him in the 3rd round of a 14-person league? Yo, get rid of the guy that does Browns WalterPicks. What did Browns WalterPicks do to you? What's your preferred app to use? Yeah, so my favorite platform to play fantasy on is Sleeper. That's where we're doing this mock draft right now. My favorite app, though, to use to help me win my fantasy leagues, that's the WalterPicks app. That's the app you're seeing right now if you're live on YouTube with this league sync functionality. You can sync your league directly to the WalterPicks app, and it's going to live update during your draft to give you custom insights, custom to your league settings, custom to who's already been taken in the draft, custom to who's already on your team, and it's going to recommend players based on that. But it's really just giving you the information you need to make your own best decision. Man, I cannot stand the Sleeper sound effects. They really get to me. All right, I already have this. I have it muted. I have Sleeper muted. They're circumventing the mute on my computer with these Sleeper sound effects. Very confusing, honestly. I don't know how they're doing that. Oh, it must be. Maybe it's the TV. Maybe I got to mute the TV. That's definitely what it is. I think we did it. Any worries about Deontay in competition? Yeah, I am nervous about Deontay Johnson. I feel like I am probably more down on Deontay Johnson than the vast majority of people. He hasn't participated in training camp yet. There's going to be a new coach, new quarterback at the helm. I expect it to be Mitch Trubisky. I don't know how closely you've been following the training camp reports in Pittsburgh, but it sounds like it's actually a pretty close battle between Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph. And that doesn't surprise me. And it's not a knock on, this isn't like a pro Mason Rudolph thing. This is a knock on Mitch Trubisky. The fact that this is a real battle in camp. We know Mason Rudolph is not good. He is a bottom 5 starting quarterback in the NFL at best. And Mitch Trubisky has not been a clear favorite over him in training camp so far. He obviously has to learn a new system while Mason Rudolph doesn't. But man, I'm not feeling good just about this offense in general. I think they have a bottom 5 offensive line in the league as well. Is it that makes me nervous about Deontay Johnson? But I also think there's a chance Chase Claypool gets a bigger target share than he has in the past with a new quarterback. I still think Deontay Johnson will out-target him. But I am a little bit nervous just overall about the Steelers offense. Everyone outside of Najee Harris, who I think is still locked into top 3 volume at the running back position, I'm pretty nervous to draft right now in fantasy drafts. Najee Harris or Joe Mixon to pair with Swift. Yeah, I would prefer Najee over Mixon. I think Najee has a lot bigger receiving upside than Joe Mixon does. draft JJAW or not? Who's JJAW? I'll probably get it quickly. CMC thoughts. Yeah, I literally just took him in this mock draft I'm doing right behind me, 2nd overall. I'm drafting CMC. I'm considering him at 1 overall. I'm still going JT, but like when I'm on the clock, 30 seconds ticking down in my high stakes drafts, I got my first one this weekend, and I have the 1st overall pick. The CMC thought's going to go through my head, and I might actually pull the trigger on it just to make a statement in one of my high stakes leagues, but I'll probably lean JT 1 overall. But number 2, I'm definitely going CMC. If it's a PPR league, there really shouldn't be a debate about it, in my opinion, based on what we've seen from CMC in the past. He scores points differently than every other player in the league in fantasy football. This is a fantasy football thing. In PPR formats, you can score over 20 points without scoring touchdowns. There's no other player in the league like that. So yeah, I'm drafting CMC 2nd overall. I'm praying he stays healthy. And I don't think people are very good at predicting injuries. I think people overestimate their ability to predict injuries. So I'm drafting CMC with confidence. 80% of running backs get hurt. So yeah, if you're predicting CMC to get hurt, you're probably right. You're probably right when you predict that about any running back. So congrats. But if you're telling me there's a much, much, much better chance, significantly better chance that CMC gets hurt over all the other running backs, I would argue against that. Sure, I think it's slightly higher risk with CMC, but the reward is much, much higher with Christian McCaffrey. So that's enough to convince me to pull the trigger on him at 2 overall. Patrick Mahomes goes off the board, 4th round. The 2nd quarterback off the board, definitely don't love taking Mahomes in that spot. I'm actually willing to take Josh Allen in the 3rd round of drafts. I'll be thinking about Josh Allen if he's still there. I think Josh Allen is in his own tier because he has the elite passing upside and he is the elite rushing upside. But if not, I'm waiting, and I'm hoping to get Lamar in like round 4 or 5, or I'm just going to wait and take Jalen Hurts in round 5 or 6, or I'm not going to reach on any of these quarterbacks. If they get taken before me, I'm just going to wait even longer. And in season-long leagues, guys, you got to see where Trey Lance is going to go in this draft. He's going to go like round 11, round 12. I've seen him go round 13 in season-long leagues, and that's just, I mean, why are you paying up for a quarterback? You're going to get a guy that is likely going to be top 3 in rushing yards per game at the quarterback position in round 11, round 12, surrounded by absolute studs after the catch with George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Brandon Ayuka, the bazooka. Like I'm definitely down on Trey Lance. I think it's pretty clear Trey Lance is the best candidate to be this year's Jalen Hurts. And he actually has maybe even more rushing upside than Jalen Hurts. In his 3 games, he averaged close to 55 rushing yards per game in his 3 starts. That would have been number 2 in the NFL last year, only behind Lamar Jackson. So yeah, I'm in on Trey Lance late at quarterback as well. I'm not willing to pay up for Patrick Mahomes. I'm not willing to pay up for Justin Herbert. I'm not willing to pay up for Joe Burrow. These guys that don't have the rushing ceiling. If you don't have the rushing floor and ceiling, I'm not paying up for you at the quarterback position. That's just the bottom line. I want quarterbacks that run. I want running backs that catch. It's pretty straightforward. It's Trey Lance season. It is Trey Lance season. What are your thoughts on taking wide receivers 1, 2 if you can get Kupp, Jeff, and Devontae Jamar CD, assuming that Swift is the best RB available? I'm fine with it. I'm fine with going RB. I'm fine with going wide receiver. Especially if you're getting Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson. In my opinion, the first 4 picks in PPR leagues, it should go Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson. That's how I'll be drafting in the top 4 picks. That's how I'll be drafting in the top 4 picks. I think Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, they really are in their own tier. Jamar Chase is in a tier to me right below, but I mean, I won't be shocked if Jamar Chase is in that same tier as them this season. I mean, he just had one of the best, if not the best, rookie wide receiver season of all time. So I'm definitely not sleeping on those top tier wide receivers. But if you do go wide receiver, then you really got to be hitting some of these 3rd, 4th, 5th round running backs that can catch passes. Guys like Breece Hall. Where did Breece Hall go in this draft? 3rd round. Perfect guy to get if you're going wide receiver. Brandon Cooks going in the 4th round. Definitely a little early for Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks going ahead of DK Metcalf. What a world we live in. What a world. All right, I'm back on the clock. TikTok, let me know if there's lost connection trying to switch between Dave and Wire. We'll see if the TikTok can come back. I am on the clock right now. Walter's telling me to go with Rashad Bateman. I'm not going to second guess anything telling me to draft Rashad Bateman. I absolutely do love Rashad Bateman. And man, you're able to get him really late. I'm actually going to go Lamar here and then try to get Rashad Bateman on the turn. I'm pretty fine getting Lamar back into the 4th round. Let's try to go back to Wi-Fi on the TikTok live. That might help us out. All right, let's get back to some questions too in the YouTube live. I picked 12, 13, 14 in a 10-man PPR league. Who would you take? Yeah, I'll get to this question right after I make my next pick. Juju Smith-Schuster gets taken one pick before me. Do like him. A little early, I think, for Juju, but in a PPR league, his ceiling is extremely high. His ceiling is top 10 wide receiver in fantasy football on a per game basis. Who's your sixth pick? The sixth pick is pretty murky. This is why I say I want a top 2 pick. If I don't get a top 2 pick, I want a top 4 pick. If I don't get a top 4 pick, of course, Rashad Penny gets snagged. One pick before me. Someone watching this live stream, that's a little disappointing. Wanted Lamar, Rashad Bateman stack, but I'm not going to get it. I will look at the running backs available, and yeah, this is an easy choice for me. I'll take AJ Dillon. Beginning of the 5th round, a little bit early. This is a 14-person league though, and I got a lot of faith in AJ Dillon, man. This year, I think that the floor for him is he's a running back 2, or like running back 2/3 each week. I think he's scoring 10 plus touchdowns this season. I think he's going to be more involved as a receiver with the limited receivers that the Packers have without Davante Adams. And I think he's getting at least 50% of the carries. Like, I think AJ Dillon's going to be at least a 12 fantasy point per game guy this season. So I feel good about getting AJ Dillon as my second running back after Christian McCaffrey in the beginning of the 5th round. You can't join this draft because it already started, but you can join the future drafts. All you got to do is join our Discord completely free, and you'll know about them ahead of time. All right, so Brian Wright's asking in the YouTube live, you got pick 12, 13, 14, 10-man PPR league. Who would you take? Yeah, so if we look back at this mock draft, like let's go look who went 12, 13, 14. You're looking at a lot of very good receivers, but also some really high-end receiving backs. I want Aaron Jones and DeAndre Swift in those spots. I would try to get both of those guys, and then I would look to add another receiver like Davante Adams, like Stephon Diggs, like CeeDee Lamb. I would take Davante Adams, Diggs, CeeDee Lamb over Tyreek Hill 100%. If you can walk away with 3 of Davante Adams, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, Aaron Jones, DeAndre Swift, you're off to a monster start in your draft. And really, even just 2 of those guys, I think you're off to an absolute monster start. Who are you taking at the 102? I literally had the 102 in this mock draft I'm doing right now, and I took Christian McCaffrey without even thinking about it. Like, I've done enough thinking about who I'm taking first overall, who I'm taking second overall, who I'm taking third overall, and who I'm taking fourth overall. It's Jonathan Taylor, CMC, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, in my opinion. I think Christian McCaffrey should be in your mind if you're the first overall pick as well in a PPR league. We are seeing some quarterbacks fly off the board. Tom Brady went in the 5th round. Joe Burrow goes in the 5th round. Justin Herbert goes in the 5th round. Feeling pretty good about getting Lamar Jackson where I got him in this draft. I think Lamar Jackson, after Josh Allen, has the best chance to finish as the number 1 overall quarterback in fantasy football. And you got to separate your opinion of him as a true quarterback from your opinion of him for fantasy football. Fantasy football skews the scoring towards rushing quarterbacks. You get 1 point for every 10 rushing yards. In most leagues, only 1 point for every 25 passing yards. Lamar Jackson, in his 2009 season, averaged 80 rushing yards a game. That's by far the most ever we've seen from a quarterback. His ceiling and floor is just astronomical. So I'm happy to get Lamar back into the 4th round and have a good shot to have the guy that's going to be the number 1 overall quarterback in fantasy this season. AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones both finished top 24 this year easily. Yeah, it's not going to be that surprising. And this is the thing with AJ Dillon. This is the ceiling case for AJ Dillon. I mean, is Aaron Jones getting hurt? And then all of a sudden, AJ Dillon, he's going to get close to 80% of the work in offense that is likely still going to be good with, returning MVP Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be a top 5 running back if that happens. But even his floor, I think, is worth the cost. So yeah, I'm in on AJ Dillon all day. I took him in this mock draft. I will be taking him in my high stakes leagues in the 5th, 6th round. I actually think he's going to slide though to like the 6th round in a lot of leagues. People view him, especially people that haven't been up to date on NFL news. People right now view him as just the backup running back. A lot of people view him as that. I think he's closer to in a 50-50 timeshare with Aaron Jones. I do think Aaron Jones will catch a lot more passes than him, making him a better PPR bet. Like, I'm still happy to take Aaron Jones in the 2nd round also. But I mean, AJ Dillon in the 5th round, I like that a lot. Would love to have you guest on our podcast sometime for an episode. Can we make something happen? Yeah, 100% we can make something happen, man. I've actually never turned down, in my 25 years on this earth, I've never turned down a podcast invite. You can email me at social@WalterPicks.com and we'll set something up, man. I'm definitely down. Social@WalterPicks.com. That's the email you can reach me at. And we can set something up, man. How we doing, Sam? We are doozing well. We're doing well, man. This is peak time of year. I'm just pumped. We're going to have an actual game, actual in quotes. The Hall of Fame game is definitely the worst game of the year, but it's a game. We're going to have football on our television screen literally tomorrow. There's football on the TV screen. I have my first high stakes season-long fantasy draft this weekend. I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling ready. I have done my batting practice. I've done I've done hundreds and hundreds of best ball drafts. I know player value like the back of my hand. I have the WalterPicks app that can literally sync to my leagues on ESPN, Yahoo, and Sleeper, give me live feedback during my draft, make sure I'm not making any massive, colossal mistakes throughout the draft, make sure I'm maximizing value throughout the draft, custom to my league settings, custom to the situation that's going on during the draft. So I'm feeling great, man. I am. I think I'm going to have a fantastic fantasy season. This is the time of year that everybody feels that way, which is why it's the best time of year. It's hands down best time of year. So I'm definitely feeling good. Chris Godwin, by the way, I mean, man, it feels like his average draft position hasn't adjusted enough to the recent very positive news about his injury. Chris Godwin could be back as soon as week 3, as soon as week 4. And when he comes back, Chris Godwin is a wide receiver 1, back-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2, and you're getting him in the 5th round right now. And in this draft, the person that picked 7th, Chris Godwin was his 3rd receiver on his team. He's not going to need to start Chris Godwin in week 1 and week 2 with Deebo Samuel and Jalen Waddle already on the squad. Trey Lance went a little earlier than I would have expected in this draft. He went in the 6th round. This is a 14-person league, though, so he'll probably go close to 7th, 8th round. This was a 12-person league. But I've seen him go literally round 10 or later. So this is definitely early, sharp draft. Every draft we do with members of our Discord, that's how you join these mock drafts, by the way. You can join our Discord for free right now so you don't miss out on the next one. But all these mock drafts, I mean, these are super sharp. Anyone that's watching this live is definitely like well above average in terms of fantasy knowledge. That's why you're watching this live. And you're going to watch me draft Tony Pollard. I'm going to not listen to Walter on this one. I'm going to draft my 3rd running back. I have a feeling I'm going to be very, very wide receiver heavy for the rest of this draft. So I think if you're looking at a 1-to-1 comparison, man, look at my last 2 picks. I go A.J. Dillon in round 5. I go Tony Pollard in round 6. And the casual football fans are like, Sam, what are you doing? You just drafted 2 backup running backs in the 5th and 6th round of your fantasy draft. But the real NFL fans know that A.J. Dillon and Tony Pollard, they're much more than backup NFL running backs. They are both talent-wise top 25 running backs in the league, arguably top 20 running backs in the league on a pure talent basis, and both are going to have weekly consistent roles in their offenses, even though they're not the starter. And both are going to be league winners if and when the starting running back on their team does get injured. I absolutely love Tony Pollard, too, in PPR leagues. I mean, it's really clear. Everything we've heard this whole offseason, everything that the Cowboys have done, letting Amari Cooper walk. They just had an injury to James Washington, too. They're super, super shallow at the wide receiver position all of a sudden. Michael Gallup, likely not going to play for the first 2 to 4 weeks of the season. It's going to be Jalen Tolbert, CeeDee Lamb, and Tony Pollard probably leading the way in targets along with Dalton Schultz. I absolutely love Pollard and A.J. Dillon in PPR formats. And now is when I can go wide receiver. Christian Kirk did get snagged. I would have taken him over who I'm going to go with, which is Among Us, St. Brown. He's way down here. Where is he in terms of ADP? Let's see. Or did he get snagged too? Let's see. What's his ADP? I'm not seeing him. Maybe he did get snagged. Interesting. I ended up going with Drake London. I accidentally auto-picked there. Did Amon-Ra St. Brown get picked in this draft? He did. Oh, it just updated. Yikes. So, all right, we went with Drake London. I probably would have gone with Hopkins over Drake London there in a real draft had I not auto-picked. I will take myself off auto-pick now. But I probably would have gone with DeAndre Hopkins. I know he's suspended for the first 6 games. But similar to Chris Godwin, like when DeAndre Hopkins comes back, he's a wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 upside every single week. I do like Hopkins a lot once he comes back. And I already have T. Higgins and Keenan Allen. And I'm gonna be able to snag a lot of good late round wide receivers as well. Gabe Davis also, like he's a guy I've been fading pretty hard in best ball drafts because I mean underdog, he's literally going in the 4th round of drafts. But in traditional season long leagues, 7th, 8th round for Gabe Davis really isn't that bad given what his weekly ceiling is going to be. I don't know if we're going to be super consistent. Linktree not working for Discord invite. So to join the Discord, then you got to come to the YouTube live. Link to the YouTube is in the TikTok bio, and then right in the YouTube live, right in the description, you can see the link in the Discord. I actually think we swapped out the Linktree link on TikTok. That's my bad for not realizing that. Javonte Williams for Leonard Fournette. I would lean Javonte Williams over playoff Lenny. I think that they have similar chances of being like elite in fantasy this season, but I feel better about Javonte Williams in his age, in his talent than I do Leonard Fournette. Though I would say like without injuries, if we assume Leonard Fournette, Buccaneers running back stay healthy, we assume Melvin Gordon stays healthy, Fournette has a higher ceiling. But if Melvin Gordon does get hurt, I mean, Javonte Williams is winning leagues. Got any tips for 6th pick in a 10-man half PPR league? Yeah, I really don't like the 6th pick. I don't like being in the middle of drafts. But I do think that if you're 6th, like you're hoping that Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, one of those 4 guys slides to you, which is going to happen in some drafts. I guarantee you, some of that's going to happen. But if you're in a sharp draft, if the people in your draft know what they're doing, those guys probably aren't going to slide. Then I would want Ja'Marr Chase. If he slides there, I would take him. After that, I think you got a lot of different ways that you can go. I think you can go with Derrick Henry. I think you can go with Dalvin Cook. I think there's a lot of different options for you at the 6th overall pick. I don't think you can. I would probably go Derrick Henry or Dalvin Cook at the 6th. That's actually who went 6, 7 in this draft. I actually agree with that. That's probably who I would go with at 6 and 7. In a PPR league, I actually do like Dalvin Cook a little bit more than Derrick Henry because Derrick Henry doesn't catch passes. And Derrick Henry, to me, has actually even more injury risk than Dalvin Cook. And I'm also pretty bullish in general on the Vikings offense passing more this season, which I think is going to be good for Dalvin in PPR leagues. Love where Ramondre Stevenson's going in this draft, 8th round in a 14-person league. That's an absolute snag. I'm in on Mondre season. I think Ramondre Stevenson going to be the leading fantasy back out of New England. And I think this whole never draft Patriots running backs sort of stigma that's been in this backfield for, it feels like the last 10 years in fantasy football is a little overblown at this point. I think we know what the Patriots backfield is going to be. I think Damon Harris is likely going to continue to be the goal line back, but I think Mondre Stevenson is going to get at least 40% of the carries in that backfield. I also think he's going to get a lot more receiving work than Damien Harris. I won't be shocked if Mondre is the 3rd down back. There's other guys that could fill that role. James White's still working his way back from injury. And Pierre Strong, one of the rookies that they drafted this year, has had some good reports out of camp. Ty Montgomery on the team now too. He's been getting some rave reviews, but I'm in on Mondre Stevenson, man. I think that the Patriots are still going to be a run first team this year. And there's a path for Mondre to break loose and be consistent in fantasy. And because he's on the Patriots backfield, he just automatically goes so late in drafts because people really, really like to avoid the Patriots backfield in fantasy. Make sure you get the WalterPicks app and you will win your fantasy leagues for sure. Thanks for that in the comments, Tyler. Yeah, we're on the YouTube live right now. You can see what you're getting with next tight end available, Sam. Let's see. Dawson Knox is the next tight end available right now. You can see right now on the YouTube live exactly what you're getting during your draft with the WalterPicks app. But you're not just getting draft help with the WalterPicks app. You're also getting help, literally insights throughout the entire season that are going to help you win your fantasy league. We have so many fantasy champions. I will take Chase Claypool with this pick. That's what Walter was recommending here as well. It's telling me to go tight end next. I don't have a tight end yet. I haven't picked a tight end. I've been punting so far at the tight end position. Let's see. Let's see who's there for me in my next pick. I don't really love Muth. I would prefer Dawson Knox over Muth. Muth is dealing with an injury right now. Dawson Knox, we don't have ranked very high because he isn't that exciting and that consistent of a tight end. But the offense is there, man. The offense is there for Muth. For Dawson Knox, excuse me. And the offense is not there for Muth. So I actually will take Dawson Knox over Muth. It's just for the pure upside in the offense that he's attached to. In on Breece, yeah, I'm 100% in on Breece. You're not going to talk me out of Breece Hall, and you're not going to talk me out of Travis Etienne. I don't care how many good positive updates we hear about James Robinson, Michael Carter. Breece Hall and Travis Etienne, they are that guy out of the backfield in terms of their receiving ability. I want both of them. In the back end of the 3rd round, beginning of the 4th round, 12-person leagues, I'm targeting both those guys. Dawson Knox does get snags. We will go with Muth as our tight end. And there are some positive signs for Pat Freiermuth, who, I mean, he's heading into his 2nd year, and he had really one of the best rookie tight end seasons. He's up there in terms of his production as a rookie tight end. 500 yards, 7 touchdowns as a rookie tight end is nothing to scoff at. The hardest position to play as a rookie is tight end. You basically have to learn everything offensive linemen learn, and you have to learn everything receivers learn, and you have to be physical enough to block defensive ends, defensive linemen. I mean, it's by far the hardest position to adjust to. If you look at the data, usually tight ends don't produce anything until year 3, year 4. But for guys like Muth, guys like Kyle Pitts, who we just saw be pretty productive as receivers, as rookies, I think that the arrow is definitely pointing up. And you should expect a 2nd-year leap out of both those guys because it's just so hard to produce as rookie tight ends. Option, where do you draft Deshaun Watson if he's out 6 games? Yeah, man, I've been begging. I've been begging for the end of the Deshaun Watson saga. I want to know how many games he's suspended for. I've done hundreds of fantasy drafts, and Deshaun Watson's been picked in almost all of them. I haven't picked Deshaun Watson very much, maybe under 2% of the drafts that I've done. Like if he slides super late, I have pulled the trigger a few times in best ball drafts. I'm not going to take him in a single season long league, but if he's only suspended 6 games, and again, this is looking like he's going to be suspended more than 6 games. It looks like, in my opinion, it's trending towards at least 12 games right now. And if that's the case, you got to stay away from Deshaun. But if it's only 6 games, I mean, Deshaun's going to end up winning fantasy leagues. Like he does have the rushing upside. He is a top 10 fantasy football quarterback when healthy, even on a run first round team. So if he's only suspended 6 games, I think like if you're really willing to root for a guy like Deshaun, which I don't really want to root for him this season, so I'm not going to draft him. But if you do want to you're willing to root for Deshaun, like I think you can take him in the 8th, 9th, 10th round. But I wouldn't reach too high for a guy that's already suspended 6 games. And I think he's going to be suspended more than that too. And once he's suspended more than that, I'm definitely fading him completely. What do you think the best pick for number 5? Yeah, my top 5 picks, it goes Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, and then 3 straight receivers: Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Those are my top 5 picks in fantasy PPR leagues. And then from there, I think there's a lot of debate to be had. I personally would go Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, or Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry after that. But I think those are the top 5 for me in fantasy drafts. We have just a few rounds left in this mock draft. It's been a very fun live stream. Make sure, guys, you do download the WalterPicks app if you haven't downloaded it yet. I've spent the last 3+ years of my life building this app for you. I built it for you so you can go dominate your fantasy league. It's literally only $10 a month or $60 a year to get unlimited access to all the tools. But actually, a lot of the tools are completely free coming this season. So it's completely free to try out, completely free to install. If you guys already have installed, by the way, what really helps us out is 5-star reviews in the App Store. Something completely free that it'll literally take you 2 seconds. If everybody on this live, literally it just takes 5 seconds, goes to the App Store, looks up WalterPicks, rates us 5 stars. I mean, that will have such a tremendous impact for us. So I really would appreciate that. If I do get your comment, that's like the one thing I would ask of you. If I can get to your comment, I will try to get to as many comments as I can. Toss us a 5-star review in the App Store. It's completely free to do. It literally will take you 10 seconds of your life to do. And we're trying to crack the top 10 of sports app this season. We're right now in the top 30 of sports apps. We are, I think, last time I checked, number 29. I want that top 10 ranking for the WalterPicks app this season. You guys can help us. Really, it's going to be up to you, not up to me. I can only give one 5-star review. But if everyone that tunes in that's a WalterPicks fan tosses a 5-star review, it definitely helps. Just download the app. Thanks, man. Kylo, I'm doing fantastic, man. In an 18-team guillotine league, wow. Do you go Hollywood Brown, Gabe Davis, Amari Cooper, Bateman, Gabriel Davis? I would take Bateman over all of those guys. I would definitely take Bateman over all those guys. Are you drafting Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy? I'm drafting both. I actually think that's the answer. That's the catch-22 with this question. You just draft both. But I prefer Jerry Jeudy at cost because Jerry Jeudy it has been going later in drafts. Usually, I've seen both go before the other. But we have Jeudy ranked a little bit higher in the WalterPicks app. I like Jeudy's ceiling just a little bit more than Cortland Sutton. Like when you really dive into the numbers last year for Jeudy, Jerry Jeudy was number 1 in the NFL in target separation. When he was targeted, there was not a single wide receiver in the league that had more separation on their targets than Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy was also outside the top 60 wide receivers in target accuracy because he had Drew Lock throwing him the ball. So what does that tell us? He was getting open, but the quarterback was still not able to even come close to giving him a chance to make a play. And that's just not going to be the case with Russell Wilson. So yeah, I would lean a little bit closer to Jerry Jeudy than Cortland Sutton, but I think both guys, have huge league winning upside tethered with Russell Wilson. I'm more bullish on Russell Wilson than I think the average NFL fan is. I did go Jacoby Myers with this last pick. PPR league do really like where I'm getting Jacoby Myers 10th round in a 14-person league. McCole Hardman's still there too. That's who Walter's pushing me to go for. Let's see where he is. I will take him. I don't think in a season-long league I feel as good about guessing which weeks McCole Hardman's going to go off. But as a bench stash in a PPR league, he's my 6th wide receiver in this draft. And in this league, you can't start 3 receivers that we're mock drafting for. Godwin or Breece Hall in the 4th. Yeah, I'm going Breece over Godwin. I want Breece Hall. I want Travis Etienne. I want these high-end running backs, these ultra-talented, ultra-athletic running backs that have shown a clear ability to be elite in the passing game. Those are the guys I want in PPR leagues. I'm taking Breece Hall in the 4th round. every day of the week. I'm taking Travis Etienne back into the third, beginning of the fourth. I have Etienne like just slightly ahead of Breece Hall, but I mean, I want both guys. I have more, and the only reason for that, I just have more confidence in Trevor Lawrence than I do Zach Wilson. And I think Travis Etienne just has a lot less competition for targets on his team. I'm a big believer Elijah Moore is going to be a beast in the NFL. I think he will take a second-year leap this year. And I also think that Garrett Wilson is going to be really good. And I think Corey Davis is like a little bit underrated at this point in his career also. So I think Breece Hall is a little bit more competition, but I want both guys. I want Breece Hall in the fourth. Guys, Breece Hall broke the NCAA record for the most games in a row with a touchdown. He scored a touchdown in 24 straight college games. And a lot of those games were actually against top 25 college teams. It wasn't like he was playing these horrible teams and just scoring touchdowns every game, which, by the way, any other running back in the NCAA could have done that and broken this record. Breece Hall was playing at Iowa State. He played multiple top 25 college teams. He scored 24 consecutive touchdowns. He was a 99th percentile receiver in college, and then he goes to the combine, tests in the 99th percentile. He's like a Saquon Barkley clone, but he doesn't have the injury risk that we know Saquon Barkley has at this point in his career. So he's like a younger Saquon Barkley. That's what you're getting. And what did Saquon Barkley do in his rookie season? He finished as a top 5 fantasy football running back. Like, that's the ceiling for Breece Hall, even in a horrible Jets team. Like, Saquon was on a pretty bad Giants team that year. I think the ceiling for Breece Hall is just so high. I like Breece Hall. I like Travis Etienne. I want both those guys. And I also think the casual NFL fan, they don't quite know who Breece Hall is yet. They don't quite know who Travis Etienne is yet. And when they see these guys in week 1 catching 5+ catches, easily scoring 15 fantasy points, even if they don't score a touchdown, I mean, the trade value in fantasy is just going to skyrocket when they see these guys in the NFL games still dominating in the receiving game. So yeah, I want Breece Hall. I want Travis Etienne. I think they're one of the best picks in the late third, early fourth round right now. And I think that those guys are like, if they do last to the late third, early fourth round in your draft, those are the guys that will give me confidence to take wide receiver, or at least one receiver in the first 2 picks. I do like starting running back most of the time as well. What's the earliest you would take Juju, MVS, Sky Moore? Yeah, I'm willing to take Juju like round 6, round 7. I do think if you're looking at guys that could be this year's Cooper Kupp, I think you've got to talk about Juju Smith-Schuster. He's getting the huge upgrade in quarterback. He's getting rave reviews in camp. We've already seen Juju be a top 10 wide receiver in fantasy football. And then Tyreek Hill's gone, guys. Like, people are going to step up on this Chiefs team. I'm still a huge believer in Patrick Mahomes being a top 3 quarterback in the NFL if he's not number 1. So yeah, I want Juju in like the 6th, 7th round. Those other guys, though, I'd rather Sky Moore over Marquez Valdes-Scantling, because we've already seen sort of what Marquez Valdes-Scantling can do with an elite quarterback, right? We've already seen him with Aaron Rodgers. He had some big games, but he was incredibly inconsistent. He's going to be really, really hard to guess what spike weeks are coming for Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Like, he's not going to be a consistent fantasy producer, I don't think, in his first year with the Chiefs. I think Sky Moore will be similar, but I think his ceiling is a little higher because he's just a little bit more of an unknown. We haven't seen what he can do in the NFL. He was a pretty early NFL pick. And he's also been making some incredible plays already in training camp. So I would probably wait for those guys, though, like round 9, round 10. I actually took Mecole Hardman in this draft pretty late. And I think he's like in that same conversation. I think he's comparable to Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I don't think he's going to have like more than 5 touches a game, but every so often, those 5 touches are going to be 60 yards and a touchdown from Mecole Hardman. Thoughts on Scary Terry? Yeah, Terry McLaurin is a guy that I want in fantasy drafts. I think he is pretty clearly playing with the best quarterback that he's had in his entire career. So I want Terry McLaurin, and he's clearly one of the most elite wide receivers in the league. You just look at the quarterbacks he's played with, man. All right, we're back on the clock. Walter's telling me to go with Nico Collins, which I will do, even though I've taken a lot of receivers in this draft. This is a very wide receiver heavy format that I'm playing in right now. I will go running back next, and I'm actually going to go with, let's see what running backs are left here. I'm actually going to go with Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams has been mixing in with the ones. I mean, we already know what Jamal Williams' role is going to be with the Lions, with DeAndre Swift. Like, he's going to get still about 40% of the work. They're not going to give DeAndre Swift 100% of the workload in the backfield, which is fine because he catches so many passes. DeAndre Swift doesn't need that to be an elite fantasy stud, similar to Aaron Jones. But if DeAndre Swift goes down, all of a sudden, Jamal Williams finds himself as the clear starting running back on a team that just loves to throw the ball to the running back. I mean, Jared Goff has historically peppered his running back with targets. So I don't hate. We're also in round 14. I mean, I'm grasping at straws here in the 14th round. And I only had 3 running backs on this team: Christian McCaffrey, A.J. Dillon, Tony Pollard, and Jamal Williams. I want to check. Let's check the settings here. 2 wide receivers, 2 flex. Did I do 2 flex in this league? That's probably why it's pushing me so hard to take receivers in this PPR format. Amon-Ra, Cooks, or Hollywood. It's definitely close. I would probably honestly rank Cooks ahead of both of those guys. Obviously, Hollywood Brown, I don't know if you saw that news today. He got arrested. I don't think it's going to lead to him missing any time. It doesn't seem like, but it could. Obviously, we got to monitor that situation. But assuming, I think I would probably put him maybe slightly ahead of St. Brown. I really do like Among Us St. Brown a lot as well, though. Yeah, I will look through every team at the end of this draft and just sort of look through how I think these teams came out. Sometimes Walter says take a wide receiver rounds 5 through 7-ish when there are guys like Dillon, Edmonds, Pollard there. And you said there are tons of late round wide receivers that will be there. Would you take RBs there? Yeah, Nick, I personally want A.J. Dillon. I want Chase Edmonds. I want Tony Pollard. And I do have a lot of late round receivers that I like. So yeah, I'm okay taking a stab at those guys in the mid rounds. And obviously it depends what positions you've already taken. And a lot of times because we go early running, Walter's like, you already have elite running backs. Go get some wide receivers. But if there's guys you know you want, I mean, this is the thing. This is why Walter, like the WalterPicks app, it's not going to tell you exactly what to do. It's meant to be there as a way to, check your impulses in your draft. Make sure you aren't reaching too far for guys. But at the end of the day, man, you got to be taking the guy you want to take. Use the WalterPicks app to assist you in doing that. Like if you want to go running back, start comparing some of the running backs in the WalterPicks app. And I guarantee you, Tony Pollard, A.J. Dillon are 2 to recommend if you are looking at running backs. Can we see your full team? Yeah, let me talk through my full team. Also, you can see if you're watching on the YouTube live, you can see my full team on the WalterPicks app here. I had the 2nd overall pick. I went with Christian McCaffrey. Let me pull it up behind me. I did go with Christian McCaffrey with the 2nd overall pick. I followed it up with T. Higgins and Keenan Allen. This is a 14-person PPR draft that I'm in right now. 4th round, I went with Lamar Jackson. I actually love, if you look where the quarterbacks went in this draft, I love where I'm getting Lamar. Back into the 4th round, this in a 12-person league, this would have been like beginning/middle of the 5th round. And I'm not going to take another quarterback in this draft now. And I have a guy that could easily finish as the number 1 overall quarterback in Lamar Jackson. Back in 2019, his MVP season, he had 80 rushing yards a game. And I don't know if you guys have seen the photos of Lamar, but it's pretty clear he's going to be running even more than here this season. And if that's not enough to get you to draft him in the 4th round of fantasy drafts, I don't know what is. I followed that up with A.J. Dillon, Tony Pollard in the 5th, 6th round. My 2nd and 3rd running backs there. I absolutely love the upside for both those guys. And I think that the casual NFL fan, they see them as backup running backs, but really they're more in a timeshare than people realize. Both guys are extremely talented, and both guys are going to be league winners if there's an injury to Aaron Jones or there's an injury to Ezekiel Elliott. I followed it up with Drake London. I actually wish I went with DeAndre Hopkins there with how many receivers I ended up drafting, but I actually accidentally auto-drafted Drake London there. Not that I dislike Drake London. I do like Drake London. Chase Claypool, I went with in the 8th round. I think there's a pretty good chance we see Chase Claypool take a step forward this season with a new quarterback. And my first tight end, my only tight end that I've taken, I went with Pat Freiermuth. Don't love the tight end I ended with. I probably would have preferred to get Dawson Knox before I drafted Chase Claypool instead. Then I went 3 straight receivers: Jacoby Myers, Mecole Hardman, Nico Collins. I do like Jacoby Myers and Nico Collins, where I got them 10th and 12th round, respectively. My last running back I took was Jamal Williams, and my last 2 picks, Packers D, which I think will take a big step forward this year, and Matt Prater, part of the Arizona Cardinals offense. Show 101 all the way through. Yeah, so we can go through each team really quickly. I'm sweating buckets. That's how you know it's a good live stream, guys. We are here. WalterPicks app won't let me sync my ESPN league. So if you're trying to sync your ESPN league in the WalterPicks app, I'm going to make a tutorial probably on YouTube some point next week. But there's a few things we're seeing are common errors with the ESPN syncing. First of all, you cannot sync WalterPicks app to mock drafts. So if you're doing a mock draft, it's not going to sync. It's not a problem with the app. It's impossible to sync to mock drafts with the back end and how ESPN works. So if it's a mock draft, that's why it's not working. The other thing, though, is it's not going to sync to your draft until picks are actually made in the draft. And you have to also download the Chrome extension for ESPN because ESPN's the worst, and Sleeper and Yahoo are just significantly better to work with. So make sure you download the Chrome extension, make sure a pick has been made. Then if you're having issues, then email us. You can find the support email in the app, in the menu on the home screen, and we will help you troubleshoot that. But those are the common errors I'm seeing with the ESPN, so make sure you test those out. If Jefferson isn't there at 1.7, should I snag Chase? Yeah, I want both those guys. I have both those guys in the top 5. So if they're there at 7, yeah, definitely. All right, let's go team by team here. Look at some of the teams that were drafted in this draft, and then we will wrap up the live stream. All right, sorry about that. The first team went Jonathan Taylor, took Ezekiel Elliott in the second round. Hinto Beans took Zeke in the second round. Do not love that. I think that's a little early for Zeke. He's starting to creep back up draft boards, and for good reason. I mean, he's going to be getting a really big workload in an offense that I think can score a lot of points. But I think I would prefer to have gone T Higgins was already gone too. I think I probably would prefer James Conner though over Zeke. AJ Brown, Juju, Rashad Bateman, Christian Kirk, Traylon Burks. I love the receivers that you ended up with. You got Tua and two guys that I do think will be better this year than they were last year. Dawson Knox, Noah Fant. Love both those tight ends too. I would give this team a solid B+, A- overall. I actually do really like how it turned out. I like starting running back, man. The receivers are getting these middle rounds. There's just so many guys that are sliding at the receiver position. All right. I was second overall. I already talked to my team. Justin Jefferson was the third overall pick on that team. Ended up with Leonard Fournette and Breece Hall. Like where you got Breece Hall. I'm in on Breece Hall in the third round. I still think I'd probably take James Conner over Breece Hall also. But in a 14-person league, beginning of the third round, I'm in on Breece Hall there. Marquise Hollywood Brown. We got to see if there's going to be any missed games based on his arrest today. Apparently, he was going 125 miles an hour or something ridiculous like that in his car. Justin Herbert, Alan Lazard, Zach Ertz, Garrett Wilson, Melvin Gordon, Kenneth Gainwell. Like where you got Kenneth Gainwell and Melvin Gordon. I would give this team a pretty solid grade as well. Eckler, James Conner, Mark Andrews. Love that start, man. Love that start. DK Metcalf in the fifth round is also absolutely insane. And nobody is lower on the Seahawks than me. I literally placed a real bet that the Seahawks will not win a game this season. But where DK Metcalf starting to fall to in drafts, I mean, I'm willing to bet on talent with DK Metcalf in the fifth, sixth round. And I'm nervous that there might not be that consistency with DK Metcalf in season-long leagues, but he's going to lead this team in targets. He's going to lead this team in yards. He's going to have a 1,000-yard season still, most likely, even though he's Geno Smith, Drew Lock throwing the ball. So, yeah, I'm in on DK Metcalf. We're there. Love the Trey Lance pick. Gabe Davis, Robert Woods, too. Robert Woods, one of my favorite late-round receivers as well. Madison, Irv Smith. I don't love the Deshaun pick. Don't think he's going to end up playing very many games this season. But you did get Trey Lance, so not like that's a big deal. I really like this is probably my favorite team so far, not going to lie, especially with the Mark Andrews pick. The fifth overall pick, Cooper Kupp slides to 5. Yeah, I definitely would have preferred the fourth overall pick going to Cooper Kupp. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, both stacked together. I actually don't hate that in season-long leagues. One of those guys is going to pop off each week. Like, especially in the first 6 weeks or however long Deshaun Watson's going to end up being suspended. I think it's going to be closer to 12 games now. I mean, the whole team's going to run through Nick Chubb, through Kareem Hunt. One of those guys is scoring a touchdown probably every single week. I don't hate starting both those guys in PPR formats. Allen Robinson, Cooper Kupp stacked together too. Stacking going on in this team. Then 3 straight rookie wide receivers: Olave, Sky Moore, Jameson Williams, David Njoku. I don't hate that as well. All right, last team I'm going to evaluate really quickly before I hop off for the night is our Falcons creator, Andrew. He was in this draft as well. He had the 7th overall pick. Gets Dalvin Cook there. That's exactly who I would have taken that pick. Turns around with Deebo Samuel. Love that as well. Josh Allen in the 3rd round. All of a sudden, I mean, you just look at these first 3 picks, and there's a path, guys, to be top at their position. I mean, they're not the best possibility other than Josh Allen to be top at their position, but all 3 could be top at their position. I love the start. Then we go Jalen Waddle, Chris Godwin. Really like both those guys as well, especially in the format that we're drafting in: 2 wide receiver, 2 flex, full PPR. Don't really love Damon Harris in the PPR format. He scored so many touchdowns last year, man. Like, we need Damon Harris to repeat a pretty unrepeatable season for him to return value, I think, in the 6th round in a PPR format. But I know that the running backs do get pretty bleak in a 14-person league. I would take Clyde, though, over Damon Harris. I like the ceiling for Clyde more than I do Damon Harris. Rashad Penny, though, in the 7th round. He has workhorse potential, man. Rashad Penny, more, but Penny was the most efficient running back in the last 6 weeks of the season last year. I'm nervous about him staying healthy. I won't be surprised. I would argue maybe he, of any guy, has like the most injury risk of all running backs. But you're getting him in the 7th round. Like, that's all priced in. The bad offensive line is priced in. We obviously love Kenneth Walker talent as well, but I mean, it's Penny's backfield to lose. Gesicki, the tight end, definitely don't love Gesicki at tight end as your starting tight end. I'm definitely nervous about him with the Dolphins adding Tyreek Hill. There was a report today too. He's like blocking more. Now, I mean, if I'm Mike Gesicki, man, first of all, he gets franchise tagged. He was lined up in the slot more than most receivers, and he gets paid like a tight end on the franchise tag, which sucks. And now he's also going to be playing a much less receiving role, I think, this season. So going to be tough to trust him on a weekly basis. Really, like when I'm looking at these tight ends in this league, this mock draft, it makes me want to draft Kyle Pitts even more in the third round. The drop off in tight ends is just so massive that if I posted a tight end video today on TikTok too, but if I don't get Kyle Pitts, if I don't get Dalton Schultz or Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews early in the draft, I'm just going to wait like really, really, really long. And I'm just going to get like Evan Ingram, David Njoku, one of these late guys, like just super late. I'm just not going to invest anything in the position. I don't want to be investing an 8th round pick in Mike Gesicki. Then we go 4 straight receivers. I like all these guys. I definitely like where you're getting Kenny Golladay. This is a 14-person league. You're getting the 10th round, like Ronald Moore, pick 2. Winston, yeah, I mean, you're not going to need him. I wouldn't draft a second QB, honestly, if I draft Josh Allen in a season long. Don't hate getting Winston in the last round. Not like your last round pick is going to matter too much. In a real league, you're going to be dropping him probably in the waiver wire by week 2. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to actually wrap up this live stream on the TikTok live. I'll try to get to as many questions as I can on the TikTok live. I'll go wrap it for like the next 5 minutes. And then I'll wrap up on the YouTube live, guys. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't yet. Thank you so much for tuning in. Time is the most valuable thing we have. So much for spending some time with me tonight. I'll be back live very, very soon. And I'll be posting how my season-long high-stakes first draft goes from this weekend early next week. Have a good one, guys. All right, we are wrapping up